on 20 March says paid amount due to SARS and shareholders. Which amounts are those? They are not given. They are not given in the transaction, but when you go to your ledger accounts that we have opened, you will see that we owe SARS 7,600. Remember, it is a liability. It increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. All right? When we pay SARS, we are going to make an entry on the credit, on the debit side. 2013, March 20, we are paying, therefore the contra account will be bank 7,600. Then what becomes your balance? Your balance actually becomes 0, because 7,600 minus 7,600 becomes 0. Therefore, we have paid the amount due to SARS. The same applies to shareholders for dividends. At the beginning of the year, we owe 30,000. Remember, I said shareholders for dividends is a liability. It increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. Therefore, when we make this payment to decrease this amount, we are going to say 2013, March 20, bank 30,000. I just collected myself easy 4 marks. I just collected myself easy 4 marks by simply making those two entries. Paid amount due to SARS and paid amount due to shareholders. Those are the amounts that we owed at the beginning of the year. Fine, let's proceed. We come to our next transaction. Issued 50,000 shares to the public at R3.50. Issued 50,000 shares to the public at R3.50. Now, which two accounts are involved here? One, we issued shares to the public, and then we received R3.50, which means it will be ordinary share capital and bank. It will be ordinary share capital and bank. However, our instructions requested us to prepare only the following accounts: ordinary share capital, retained income, SARS income tax, shareholders for dividends, dividends on ordinary shares, and appropriation account. We were not required to prepare the bank account, and therefore, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, when we issue shares to the public, remember, I said ordinary share capital, it is an owner's equity account. Therefore, it increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. Debit, credit. And the same will apply to retained income. Increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. Now, we issued shares. We issued 50,000 shares at R3.50 per share. Now, how much did we receive? We received 50,000 multiplied by R3.50. That gives us 175,000. That gives us 175,000. 50,000 multiplied by R3.50. Right. Then we must record that in our ordinary share capital account. We must record that in the ordinary share capital account. When we issue more shares, our ordinary share capital is going to increase. Therefore, it means we must make an entry on the credit side. We issued those on the 31st of May. Therefore, we are going to have May 31 bank 175,000 rands. Right. We are done with that transaction. The other entry would be made in the bank account. Will be made in the bank account. But the instructions did not require us to prepare the bank account. But of course, a bank is an asset, is going to increase, therefore you will debit the bank account for a corresponding debit entry. Fine. Then we go to the next transaction. We are done with that one. We are done with this one. The next transaction says to us, a check for 128,000 was sent to SARS as a first provisional payment of income tax. Now, let me explain what a provisional payment of income tax means. In business, in practice, in real life, the businesses do not wait until the end of the year to receive the tax bill from SARS before they make payments. They normally make prepayments. A provisional tax payment is actually a prepayment, because if you wait until the end of the year to pay SARS, you might find that you do not have enough money to do so. Therefore, the Act requires that you make a prepayment based on the profit that, as a certain percentage of the profit that you made last year. But don't worry, you'll always be told the amount of the prepayment that you are making. In essence, what you are saying is that you are paying in advance, right? You are paying income tax in advance, right? Remember, we said the tax is a liability. To decrease it, you make an entry on the debit side. Therefore, we go to our SARS income tax account. We go to our SARS income tax, and then we said it was on the 31st of August. Then we are going to say August 31 bank 128,000. This is a prepayment, and it will decrease the amount that you for the year. And you will credit the bank account, because money in the bank decreases. To decrease an asset, you credit it. You decrease the bank, and you debit also SARS. You decrease the amount of tax that you will have to pay at the end of the year.